Hey everybody, this is Eddy Dacius. We're here for another episode with Divine Purpose Podcast. Today we have a wonderful guest. Her name is Pascale Sablan, and we're definitely gonna have a time to learn about her journey, a passion thing she's currently doing. For us, we have our sponsors, so let's give a shout out to our sponsors. So if you're looking for a great headshot, so you have to call Barry Brownstein. It will give you a good headshot for your LinkedIn, for your website, for your resume. Call them.
Did you know that most people would rather have root canal versus having their headshot taken? Hi, I'm Barry Braunstein of Barry Braunstein Photography, and I create headshots that people love. When you work with me, I help you to feel comfortable, show and teach you how to smile, to feel at ease in front of the camera, and light you in a way that makes you look great. Groups of 6 or more, I take the studio to you. Either way, it would be great to work together to create headshots you'll actually love.
Yes, Barry Brownstein should be your first choice. Call them now, 781-237-0495, or go on his website, barrybrownsteinphotography.com. So we have Divine Purpose Podcast today, and we also have another sponsor. That's his facility management. They will manage your property with a variety of services. Call them now, 617-227-0106. Right now, they should be your first choice for any property needs.
Do you want to maximize the value of your commercial property and achieve optimal productivity and efficiency in your day-to-day business operations? That's where Dacius Facilities Management can help. DFM offers Boston area businesses help in key areas like building and preventive maintenance, handyman services, project and vendor management, and even security consulting at competitive rates. Call Dacius Facilities Management now at 617-237-0106 or visit daciusfm.com today.
Wow, so 617-237-0106. Like promised, we have a great guest. She's an architect, and her name is Pascale Sablan, and she's a visionary architect with an impressive track record of transforming the built environment. As an associate principal at Adjaye Associates, she brings over 15 years of experience and unparalleled passion for design structures that serve society. Those are my words, and we're going to have a privilege, a great honor to have Pascale with us today, and we're gonna ask her how she's doing. Hey Pascale, how are you?
Hello everyone, I'm doing good. Excited for this amazing Juneteenth holiday.
Yes, that's great to mention that, and we really appreciate having you. So let's start with this podcast. This is Divine Purpose Podcast with our guest Pascale Sablan.
Welcome to the Divine Purpose Podcast, where we transport you along one of the more dynamic journeys of life. Have you ever been curious to know what it takes to become a successful leader? Or about knowing the secrets of life through the Bible? How about engaging in conversation where no topics are off limits? We will take you to new levels with guests who can help you grasp the importance of your calling. Now, here's your host, Eddy Dacius, founder of Dacius Facilities Management.
Yes, like we said, we have a great guest. I think I'm excited because I'm more excited because she's an architect. I'm a project manager, so there will be a lot of questions related to construction. And one thing I realized, I feel like when we have people who can take their creative style into construction, that speak volume, and we're gonna learn about her journey. We're gonna learn about her path and all she got to be an architect. And the first question we're gonna ask her, and we always ask our guests that question: what can you tell us about you today?
Oh, that's a big question. What can I tell you about me? Wow. I'm a person who's privileged with purpose, who really found that architecture is the profession for me, but not just in terms of the projects that I realized from imagination through construction, but
Yeah.
really impacting the profession as well. And that has really sculpted the
Mm.
ways in which I've interacted with the profession by making sure that I volunteer in positions of leadership and holds various roles. So, in addition to being an associate principal at Adjaye Associates, I'm also the president of the National Organization of Minority Architects, who is
What?
officially a global
What?
organization that
What?
fights for equity and justice and representation in the profession across the country and now globally. So under my presidency, my presidential platform was to turn NOMA global. And so we have our official first international chapter, UK NOMA, which I'm really proud and excited about. I also started an advocacy organization called Beyond the Built Environment, where we elevate and highlight the work and contributions and identities of women and people of color, just so that we can continue to diversify access to talent, to document, keep record, and also to engage greater society in the work that we do and the way that impacts their world, and so that they can have a larger role in designing and deciding their built environment.
Let me take this moment to give you some more flowers. It's not like you need it, but so Pascal education background include a bachelor in architecture from Pratt Institute and a master of science in advanced architectural design from Columbia University. So that's a lot, and we're gonna talk about some challenges, right? So can you share three challenging event in your life, and how did they challenge you?
Sure, great question. So I was always a very good student. Caribbean parents, they don't play around, they don't play them games, and so my pathways or options for occupation was usually doctor or lawyer. And it wasn't until I was commissioned to do this mural at the Palmanac Community Center in Queens,
Wow.
where somebody walked by and said, "Wow, you can draw straight lines without a ruler. That's a great skill for an architect to have." And so, if this person didn't have this out loud thought, I don't know when the profession would have really been offered to me as a potential pathway. But architecture was it. That was like that. It was perfect. It was a way of using my creativity in a way that was respectful and impactful to the world. And so, since I was 11 years old, architect was always my answer in terms of what are you going to be when you grow up. So no
Wow.
one should be surprised about that. To get a 5-year bachelor's degree in architecture is quite rare. There's not many schools that actually offer that program. So I was really lucky and fortunate to have Pratt right here in New York, in Brooklyn, offer one of the best programs for it. And so the other reason why I really want to do a bachelor's degree in architecture is because year one, you're already starting your architecture classes. Whereas if you went to other schools, you'd have to do a liberal arts or a different profession first and
Yeah.
then do a master's. So I really was like, okay, it's been forever since I've been saying that this is what I want to do. So
Well,
I want to jump right in. Within my first or second week of school, a professor in an architecture history class asked two of us to stand up. Um, and I thought we were being kind of or placed for leadership or doing some kind of activity in the class. And he said, okay, these two will never become architects because they're Black and because they're women. And it's a
oh, oh,
classroom
oh,
of
oh. What? Really?
really, and so this is a classroom of maybe 60 to 70 students. And I was surprised that a professor who didn't know my name nor my capacity would make such a strong proclamation. I was surprised that out of all these students, only two of us were Black women. And I was also quite sad by the silence of my peers. And so when I sat down, the student to my left, I'll never forget, said, "You better, not let that deter you. Prove him wrong," right? He clearly used more colorful words, but I'm being nice to your audience. And as a competitive person, that was the sentence I needed to hear in that moment to persevere, because I had never experienced anything like that before.
Okay.
But that was also when I realized that when I became an architect, it wasn't just in the projects that we were doing, but also how do I make the profession itself more equitable and just.
What? I had a guess. We just released that video. Her name is Sabrina Jack, and she was like she did a great job when she came here from Haiti, and she had a bunch of offers from great universities, and a counselor told her she can only go to a community college, and she had like scholarships. And like she got mad, but kind of relate to your story. So let's go about the proudest achievement so far.
That one's a tough one. To become an architect, to call yourself an architect, you actually have to get an accredited degree. You
Yeah.
have to do X amount of years of hours of internships, which could either be called IDP back in my day, and now they're called AXP, where it's a few years of interning at an architecture firm. You also have to take exams. Also, back in my day, there were 7 exams. I think now there's 6. And you have to do all these things to call yourself an architect. And up until then, you can only call yourself a designer. You can't even like indicate architectural designer or anything. It has to be very specific about how you use that term.
Yeah.
And so for me, I was never a good test taker. I was always a hard worker, right? I, very good attendance in my classes, did all the extra credit. When it came to projects, I went all out, but testing was never kind of my thing, not my love language. And so I struggled through the examination process, and it took me 14 tests before I passed the 7 that were required. And so some I passed the first time, some it took the second, some it took 4 times before I passed it. And they had something called, every time you took the test, you waited 6 weeks before you found your results. And if you didn't pass, you had to wait 6 months before you could take that test again.
Yeah.
So it really made the process like a 5-year process for me personally, where for others it might be much faster. I cried a lot. I very much cried a lot. Very frustrated by this process, but persevered, and was able to become a registered licensed architect of New York in 2014. And in doing so, became the 315th living African-American woman architect in the United States. And that was such an important achievement where I'm extremely proud, because that really was something that I struggled for a very long time. It really took a village of like my family, my friends helping me study to help me get there. And that was, for me, a lifelong dream that I was able to realize. And then more recently in 2021, I was awarded the AIA, which is the American Institute of Architects, Whitney M. Young Jr. Award for my advocacy work. So for the work that I was doing with NOMA and for Beyond the Built Environment, I was recognized and was given this amazing medal and given shine for the work that I do to change the profession.
Yeah.
And that was a really proud a moment, because it's one of the highest honors you can receive in the profession. And I was getting it for elevating other people. It was because I was serving my purpose is which I got it. And by getting that award, it automatically ascended me into the AIA College of Fellows, which is only 3% of the entire profession, which there's 115,000, I believe, architects in the US. Only 3% of us are fellows. And when I became a fellow, I became the youngest African-American to ever receive that honor in 167 years of that organization's history.
What?
And so to have that medal and to be a fellow, and to know how I struggle with the exams, and to now where my place is really important. And that's why I'm always very honest about how challenging the exams are for me, so that those who are struggling in that process knows that it is not an indicator about how amazing or how great of an architect they can be. It's just one of those steps that we have to take to get there. And so I guess that is my 2 answers that I merged into one.
That's perfect. That's perfect. And thank you for being for coming on with this, because some people will keep it, very high, no lows, so not sharing the struggle. But what kept you going? Because what kept you going every day or every 6 months going to take the test again? What was your motivation?
I really want to be an architect. And what was powerful is when I told my parents that, architecture is what I wanted to do, which we all knew. But when I got to high school and started applying to colleges, I was only applying to colleges with bachelor's degree programs, which is very specific programs across the country. So it was, my mom was like, Pascal, if you get there and you don't like it and you have to change majors, you have to change schools. So let's make sure. So she signed me up for what's an architect seminar in the city. And that's when I learned how to use a Metro card, and I would come on Wednesdays and they would take us to construction sites, architecture firms, model shops, newly constructed projects, and really had us meet a lot of architects so that we fully understood what it meant to be an architect. And that really helped me solidify that that's absolutely what I wanted to be.
Yeah.
And to me, to go through all that schooling and to not get my registration would just be inadequate and would be a failure. So it just, I knew it was going to take how long it was going to take, but that I had to continue to persevere and, cry it out. And then once I was done crying, reopen the book and start over.
Let's go back in your childhood memories. Any favorite childhood memories you can share with us? Your household dynamic.
Oh, that's a big one. I don't know, a childhood memory. I would say growing up with my family, we're a large bunch. But I, was raised with my older brother, Jeffrey, who passed away.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, in a car accident many moons ago. And actually, I named my son's middle name is Jeffrey as his namesake. So I think some of my favorite memories, childhood memories, is always kind of retelling and kind of letting Xavier know about Jeffrey and the kind of older brother that he was, and kind of keeping him there. But I think my favorite memories, or my memories in my childhood, is always us as a family, as a community. Eating together, playing together, praying together, having fun together, getting in trouble together. But my memories are always like around my family and the people who love me.
And thank you for sharing. Appreciate that. So, what's the best compliment you ever gotten?
2 weeks ago, I gave a seminar in at the AIA conference. Where they had 15,000 people. And I talked about my journey, my advocacy work. And a young student, or not a student, he wasn't a student, he's been working for 5 years. He came up to me and gave me a hug, a sincere hug, and said, "You changed my life. Like, I've been in this profession for 5 years and I felt like I never belonged up until I heard you speak today." And he's like, "Can I just have a picture? I just want a picture." He's so sweet. So, I took a picture with him, and I follow him on social media, and, he posted everywhere, about feeling seen, feeling welcomed, feeling inspired. And so that kind of compliments really means a lot, because the work that I do is not easy. I'm challenging a lot of norms. I'm pushing a lot of boundaries, and the complaints and the pushback are quite often. But these moments of praise, and to say, "Wow, this really changed me," and that's just from me being my authentic self and sharing both the highs and the lows, is probably one of my most recent compliments. Another one is somebody posted a picture on social media and said, "My daughter painted a portrait of Pascale Sablan for Black History Month." And I was like, "Oh my God, so good." And it looks so good. She got my curls and everything so good. So it was to see that I've started to connect with generations,
yeah,
people that I don't have a direct relationship or connection to, that I'm also having an impact, is really meaningful.
Let me take this moment to say it. I think I was reading a story on LinkedIn about you and another woman receiving an award, and I saw your name. I think that was AIA.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, no, I have to get this person on the podcast, because I that's what drive me, like looking for people that can inspire others, and I think your life and your experience, everything you accomplished, will get great impact in the community, in the next generation too. So
I appreciate you saying that. I think so because of COVID, a lot of the ceremonies for AIA didn't occur. So
yeah,
both the 2020 and the 2021 Whitney M. Young Jr., so that's myself and Gabrielle Bullock in California, we had the amazing opportunity to meet Barack Obama because of our award
wow, that's
distinction.
great.
And so that's part of the kind of amazing opportunity that came with that award, is being able to. So the photo is with me and her, and she won that award in 2020, and I was this recipient in 2021. That's
Wow, but
probably what you saw.
yeah, that's why I saw. Definitely, that's why I
Yeah.
saw. Let's talk about your parents, and in terms of, you know, I don't know if you want to mention it, but I will let you to kind of talk about your parents' origin. But did they ever tell you they're proud of you, and when was that moment?
Oh my goodness. So nonstop, always. My parents are like my best cheerleaders, if you will. My mom is from an area called Maïsad in Haiti. Um, and she's an accountant, and she's a
Wow.
force. She's silly but sweet, but don't mess with her. Um, I've seen some things. She's nobody to be messed with. My stepdad is a yellow cab driver from New York. He's also from Haiti. Same area, same community, Maïsad. So they grew up together. But he was like Maïsad and Hish. My dad is a doctor, a pediatrician. He's here. He's also Haitian. I mean, a whole Haitian family. And my stepmom is Jillian, and she is a dietitian that works for Clearwater here in New York. So I have a very impressive parent structure of people who love me, aunts and uncles, and I have 10 siblings as well. So that's why we're a big family. I'm actually here at my grandmother's house, who just turned 94.
Wow.
Is sharp, still, like, make gardening and making big bombs of rice. And so I try to kind of talk about my heritage and my background, and being first generation immigrant, and really making sure we talk about the challenges, and also identifying language barriers, and talking about
Yeah.
acceptance and equity in that space. And so that's a little bit about like my family. So my family are always kind of keeping me humble, but also are always very proud of me and always cheering me on. I'll give you an example. 3 weeks ago,
Yeah.
I gave the commencement address for City Tech at the Barclay Center, which is a very big stadium here, to an audience of 10,000 people. And it wasn't till like the day before that I realized that I could bring guests. So,
Okay.
so I was like, hey, who wants to come? My brother, my mom was like, we're going to be there. And so it was
They
so
always,
cool to
yeah,
have,
I like
yeah.
that.
So being
You
able
know what I
to,
like. I like, and I thank you. Like I said, this is great, and hearing that, this is perfect, because we're trying to change the image of Haiti, of our generation, of people coming from Haiti. We resilient, we smart, we go in places, But one thing I always like is whenever you invite them, they all want to come. They all want to come, and that's always a good thing. So let's switch to this question I started to ask guests about it, because it's so important. About, is there one thing you knew before you started your career, or something one thing you wish you knew before you started your career?
the one thing I wish I knew before I started my career. I wish I knew the the history, a little bit more of our legacy in terms of people of color and women in the profession before starting. My professors and the material in which I was being taught were great and dynamic, and world changing architects, really wasn't reflective of my identity. And I think it would have allowed me to have more confidence within myself while going through this process, had I known that information.
Okay.
And that is why it's become part of my purpose to ensure that information is accessible for the next group coming forward. And so that's at the root of a lot of the work that I'm doing. So I wish that I just was knowing a little bit more about really amazing, incredible women and people of color in the field, in the profession, because it's someone, or it's a group of people that I didn't quite to get to know until I really started to join NOMA while I was a professional and really started to understand that history and legacy and trying to make that more accessible for other people.
So we have a question we ask about, like what was your dream job in high school? I think you already answered that question, but what was your first job then? And then,
Like when I
go
was
ahead.
a kid?
Yeah, when you were a kid, and then because the question is more about transferable skills and what you learned from your first job and you still using now in your career, current profession.
Got it. So my first job, when I was able to work when I was like 14, 15, was actually a sacristan at my church,
Okay.
Sacred Heart and Cambria Heights, Queens. And so with that role, basically you're the person who opens the church, gets the AC going, make sure everything's kind of set up, like you prepare the church for the
For the service,
congregation and for the priest and the altar servers to kind of come in and do their thing. So you set everything up. And I remember I was the first ever woman sacristan of Sacred Heart, because a lot of the switches for what functions in the church was located in the men's restroom.
Okay.
And so if it was too hot or too cold and it needed to be adjusted, you would be going in there when people were there. So I was like, I can just knock on the door and just say, hey, is it occupied? Right? Like, so I kind of broke that mold, that stigma, and was able to kind of go in. And also, so part of that work is that you also then ran you were the secretary of the rectory for a time slot as well. So you would answer phone calls and help book appointments and help, again, connect the community to the priest. And so I guess the transferable skills there was just understanding that I can do anything, right? Like, just like nothing should be gender prescribed as it relates to abilities and capacities to do a job well, to challenge people to rethink the way we do things in a way that allows for more opportunities for more people to do it. But it also really was a job that focused and prioritized the community. Right.
Okay.
That was my number one boss, right? The community was my number one boss. The priests and everything else was like secondary and tertiary. And that's something that is also taken with me into the profession of architecture, where the client isn't just simply the person who signs the check and who commissions the project, but it's also the people who are impacted by the products that we're creating, that we're designing, that we're manifesting. And so that prioritization of people is quite important. And that skill set of being able to into a church and have a performance or like a service going forward and something going wrong, and being able to troubleshoot, being able to solve some things and not be able to get help immediately, but really trying to provide comfort and provide support to people to make sure that they feel welcome, that they feel comfort, and they feel that the church and the service is giving them everything that they need. And it's still the church that I identify as my personal congregation, even though I live much further away, and it's rare that I'm able to come home from Mass at this particular church. But the way that I was kind of nurtured, supported, elevated in the community that I've built, I think is very much indicative of who I am today.
Wow. So great to hear. We have a few minutes before we get to break, but let me quickly ask you this question. In terms of looking back in your career, is there one thing you feel like didn't work out and you kind of have to forget it and then move on? Like a bad experience?
I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to let go. I tend to lock in and feel that if I step away, then I'm quitting. And that is not the case, right? It's really learning about where are the spaces and places that serve you. And so I would say, to answer that question, is I worked for a firm that once I became a parent, became a problem, right? And I quickly pivoted and found quickly, like within a year, was able to find another office that I was able to work at. And was able to find a place where I could be both an amazing architect and an incredible parent at the same time. And that was important because it wasn't me quitting, but it was me acknowledging that this space was no longer supportive and
Okay.
no longer going to help sculpt the person that I wanted to be. That firm, I was there for 10, 11 years. It was an incredible firm, incredible leaders. I worked on fantastic projects that I don't think I'll ever get a chance to work on again to that capacity. But that part of my identity was so strong and so important to me that I had to prioritize that over all the other kind of pluses. And at first there was a fear that I would be changing the caliber of work or the kind of architect that I'd be able to do by prioritizing parenthood.
Yeah.
But now I'm at an architecture firm with Sir David Adjaye, and he's one of the architects who did the Smithsonian in DC. The most
Wow, really?
well-known prolific Black architect in the world right now. And that's who has been my mentor and has really elevated me in his office and the work that I've been doing. And so earlier this year, he promoted me to associate principal. And now I help co-lead the New York office with the other two associate principals. And that's powerful because the amount of women of color who are parents, who hold the title of principal at an architecture firm that they didn't start themselves in this industry is less than 5.
Wow.
And so I know that I am, in rare space and rare air, but that's also a reason why I try to widen the door as much as I possibly can and make for as much opportunities for other people coming through where there are things that are holding them back that has nothing to do with their capacities as architects or designers, but simply their lifestyle and the families that they choose to have.
Wow, well said. So let's take a quick break. We had this is Divine Purpose podcast with Pascale Sablan. And before we go, let's if you want to support our purpose, give a little, help a lot. So let's create a brighter future by learning and sharing each other's journey. Donation amount can be from 25, 50, 100, or 500. But any donation of 500 or more comes with a free advertising slot on our podcast. You can call us 617-227-0106 or visit us dppodcast.com. Please scan the QR code to donate. You can do Venmo, you can do Cash App, and you can do PayPal.
What comes before making a smart decision? Choices. A smart choice is the best option, which is who we are. That's why our clients expect more from us and, in return, get more in everything we do. We understand the problem. That's why we thrive for excellence. We don't just create a winning culture. We aspire to be a smart choice, a voice for solutions. We believe in integrity, professionalism, and teamwork. Our passion is to bring results from our clients by working harder, smarter, and faster. As a team, we always deliver because we recognize your needs. Choosing smart influences us to be the best version of ourselves. That makes us different than other companies. It makes us confident in achieving our goals. It makes us who we are. And it makes us DFM, the smart choice.
Yes, DFM, the smart choice. Like we said, we're excited to have Pascale Sablan today with us. We're very, very excited because we get to the second part of this great interview where we're going to ask some questions. We're going to have our segment. So we have Hot Topic. And then we have a new segment called Trust Me, I Know. And I'm excited to hear Pascale on Trust Me I Know segment. But before we go on our segment, I have one question. What is one piece of advice you would give somebody starting their career now?
My favorite piece of advice to give someone starting their career and or in school is college is the first path of like networking. So the way you carry yourself in college, the people that you meet, your work ethic and how you get your projects done are things that people really see, acknowledge, and hold on to as you all graduate. And so as you infiltrate into the profession, y'all are getting hired in different firms and different offices, some on the architecture side, some on the developer side, some on the construction side, that as you kind of elevate in your professional career, so do they. And so networking as early as college is quite important. And the way you carry yourself while you're in college is quite important and indicative of the professional career that you're going to have. The second is that there was organizations and support groups out there that's designed, that has been founded and established to support you in the work that you're doing. And so it's important that we identify those support systems, not just our families, but really professional pathways that can connect you with mentors that can help you excel and thrive in the professions that you're in, and also become a sounding board and a strategizing partner when navigating some of the challenges and the obstacles that are embedded within your profession as well. And so get involved, volunteer, participate, and then, really start to craft that support system. And then lastly, never have just one mentor. Everybody has their talents. Everybody has their things that they excel at. And so identifying not just a perfect person, because that's really hard to find, but thinking about the different people in your kind of environment that have different skill sets that you want to emulate, that you want to learn from, and really leverage that. And so having multiple mentors that help guide you to different aspects is quite important and strategic as well in the work that you're doing.
Wow. So let's get into our segment with Hot Topic. So Hot Topic is a segment where we're gonna ask you a question related to your career, questions people won't have, our audience would not have a chance to ask you. Let's dive in right now. I'm sure you're familiar with this sound. So we're going to dive deep. So this question is related to your profession, being an architect. So what's the day today like for an architect?
Well, that's the best part. The day-to-day for an architect is never the same. We are not a rigorous kind of profession like an accountant, like my mom, who knows exactly what's happening on Monday and on Tuesday and on Wednesday. Every project's different. Every site is different. Every client, the community is different. And so the day-to-day of an architect is one that is constantly learning. For me, my day begins with getting me and my son ready for school, dropping him off, and then commuting to the office. Then I usually do catching up on emails and or kind of interviews and meetings for NOMA in the mornings. Then I help co-lead the New York office. So I'm part of the decision-making process as it relates to staffing, projects, contracts, proposals, things that we need to helping with the operations of the office as well.
Yeah.
Then, project meetings, meet with my team internally and or client meetings. I also have sessions with the project managers of my office to kind of see how their projects are doing as well, to ensure that the viability and how they're performing as we move through the week. And then at the end of the day, usually I come home and I, spend some time with my son. So I get home usually around 7 and his bedtime is 9:30. So from 7 to 9:30, there is no computers allowed. It's just me and Xavier time where we either play with dinosaurs, play with cards, play tag, hide and seek, all that fun stuff. And we both go to sleep quite early. So that allows me to wake up around 4:30 in the morning. And that in that time, I'm able to get back in front of my computer and continue to do my advocacy work. So that allows me to have him feel like he has my undivided attention, but still get the rest that I need and be able to have the time I need to kind of move some of this advocacy efforts forward in that work. And then somewhere in the week, I'm usually traveling somewhere, whether it be for board meetings, whether it be public speaking, exhibitions, openings, because I also curate exhibitions. I've done 37 exhibitions so far. The 38th one is opening this month or next month, in Arizona. So usually like kind of working on those things are part of that effort that I do as well.
So let's go about, I don't know if you work on any building lately, but what's your process because it takes a lot into me as a project manager or facility project manager. I don't design anything. I just make sure I work in the vision of whoever design it, which is you, the architect. So, but where's the vision come from? How do you like? Because I saw some great building, and I'm asking myself, where did they find this inspiration? To kind of get every detail right, and sometimes they go with a team where, like, in terms of like create the same type of element in throughout the whole building. So, what's your process?
Sure. So at Adjaye Associates, Sir David Adjaye is our fearless leader. He is the designer for all projects. So there's most of our projects are confidential, but there's two of them that is at least public, so I know I could talk about them. The first is the National Palace of Haiti. So that has been.
What?
Oh, I thought you knew that.
What? Yo, what?
Yeah.
Oh, you just
So
Kisa.
David won the design competition for the reconstruction of the palace before I joined the company. But once I joined, he said, there's this great project in the Caribbean I think you'd be really interested in. And he said that the National Palace of Haiti, and he starts to explain to me about Haiti and how amazing Haiti is. I'm like, David, I'm Haitian. And he's like, no way. And I was like, not only that, but I speak Creole. So it's been amazing. And I
Wow.
travel to Haiti all the time. And so it's been powerful to be able to go to business meetings and speak my native tongue and my language, and to be able to merge the cultural kind of nuances and kind of help inform the team about things that we need to consider as we develop the project. So that's one project that I get to work on.
Maybe I ask you this off here because I'm so excited. Wow, I didn't know anything of this.
Yes,
That's
there's been a lot
impressive.
of traumatic events in Haiti more recently, so that has clearly delayed the process and the project in a lot of significant ways. But we are still the team, part of the team, leading the team to reconstruct the National Palace of Haiti, that whole campus. So it's going to be a phenomenal project. I'm really proud to be affiliated and part of that work. And I hope we're able to kind of really realize that sooner rather than later. And the second project is the Vision for Barbados Memorial and Museum, which is also an incredible site where there's a location in Barbados where they actually know the names and identities of the slaves that were buried on the site because they lived and worked and were buried in the same plantation. And that is actually quite rare. Usually slaves were kind of put in a burial ground and not kind of interred on site. So my understanding is that it's the only place in the world where slaves were buried in the same site in the same plantation in which they worked at that capacity. So with over 500 remains on site, we're able to design this stunning memorial using rammed earth and really these beautiful totem poles, wood that speaks to each ancestor that's interred on the site. And then having a museum not too far away where you're able to learn and document and keep history while having a place of remembrance at the same time. Obviously at our firm, the process is a little bit different because it's David's vision. It's him and his inspirations. And the way that we work at Adjaye Associates is that we actually have a research team of researchers who actually look in history, documents, and studies understanding the culture, identity of the site, and use that to inspire the team and to help make decisions as we go and realize projects. So the other projects I'm not allowed to talk about publicly.
No, makes sense. It's fine.
But these are the two that I think gives you a little bit of an insight of what it's like to be me and to work at the firm.
To be honest, the first one just satisfied me, so so I'm okay with the first one always. So there's I was reading, they said they call you the powerhouse woman. Why?
Listen, I'm very flattered when Forbes dropped that article and called me a powerhouse woman who's changing the world for the better. And it's because I am a bit relentless. I am persistent, and I believe that there should be justice, equity, diversity, and inclusivity as it relates to the profession and the work that we're doing. I think all of society should benefit from great quality design, not just those who are affluent and has deep financial pockets, but everyone should have designs that works for them. I'm also quite honest about how architecture has been used to facilitate and perpetuate racism, sexism, and other forms of oppression. And that it's our role to be more aggressive and not passive as it relates to what gets built and our positions in what's getting built. And it's not just, oh, the client commissioned me, so what can I do? It's no, client, I won't do this kind of work. I won't help build this kind of property. I won't harm this community through this work, and teach through that work as well. And, I found it funny that, just I think a year ago, I was featured on Oprah's platform and The Future Rising under the audacious category. And I was like, that's quite accurate. I am audacious. I will stand in a room where I'm underrepresented and fight for justice for our NOMA members, for our communities, and in an unabashed manner, in a respectful manner. But I see justice. I see it tangible. I see it as what's necessary and immediate, and I find every and all avenues that I can to really make progress in that space.
Wow. Oh boy, that's great. That's great. I think I'm over. I'm over the moon here, because hearing everything you're saying, and that's very impressive. So let's talk about the message for our younger generation. I have a daughter, and what's the message will be for them? And I know there's a lot of people who have kids in terms of successful. So how important is success for you as a woman, or Black woman?
That's a great question, because that definition has been changing and altering as I've been navigating, right? And I think now when I think about what success is a level of joy and peace that I carry in my mind as I navigate spaces, because I am operating at high level, high pressure, high stakes environments, whether it be at the office negotiating these deals, or with projects where I'm fighting for community, or for NOMA as I advocate for us as the president. These are spaces that really are challenging, and it pulls a lot of energy from me. And so to be able to find joy, to find peace, to find rest within that work is quite important, because I want the longevity. I don't want to burn out. I don't want to feel like I can't move forward. I want it to be so well balanced in the way that I operate and navigate this world, that it's something that I'm able to do till I take my last breath, right? But even like the idea of what is professionalism, is something that I've also been challenging. I used to like flat iron my hair and wear it, bone straight, and to go to the office.
Yeah.
And now I wear it curly, and understanding that how my hair grows out of my head naturally is beautiful and professional. It's something that I actually had to understand and learn as well. And that wasn't a lesson that I began until I became pregnant, and thought, how can I teach my child to love themselves if I go to such extraordinary lengths to change and alter how I look, for the sake of subscribing to this European or Western idea of what beauty is, right? And so speaking power into myself, speaking love into myself is all part of that work, so that I can permeate that and put that seed into other people.
Yeah.
And why I find that success is less about me, but really about elevating others, about creating opportunities for others is quite important and at the root of my purpose.
The last question for Hot Topic would be about self-care, where it's a big topic now. So how do you go about self-care?
I think I touched on it a little bit, which is like I go to sleep quite early. And I know people like 9:30 or yuck, but I promise you, being able to wake up at 4:30 in the morning, and the first thing that I do is journal, as you write for about an hour about what are the things that are on my mind, what are the things that are stressing me out, what are the things I'm happy about, what are some of the goals that I'm setting for myself, and really spend the time focusing on myself is quite important. I usually also work out to help, again, my physical and keep my body functioning well. Aside from summer coming like right around the corner, but also I'm trying to live till like I'm at least 100. I want to ski around for my kid and
And,
see him do great things.
you have your grandma's pushing it too.
I'm saying, that's all I'm saying. She's trying to hit 100. I'm trying to hit
Uh,
100 as well. And so that's part of the structure of, before I even start my day to fight for other people, I have to start the day nurturing myself in a way that I don't feel the mom guilt, right?
yeah.
Um, and and I also, the last part of like my self-care routine of the morning is that I usually wake up my kid with kisses. I,
Okay.
I start him with love. I push as much love and power into him, waking him up. And so we starting the day giggling. We're starting the
Yeah.
day like having the best time, and cracking jokes and talking about our dreams. And so that when we leave the house together, I feel that I've prepared him with an armor of love, and I prepared myself with the same. And that's part of my self-care routine is very much my morning routine.
Wow, wow. Well said. Thank you for this. This is Eddy Dacius with Divine Purpose Podcast with Pascale Sablan. Let's go to a new segment. So I'm excited about this segment. It's called Trust Me, I Know. And this segment is it might be your bragging right. It might be a way to kind of focus on build your confidence. You can take it anywhere you want, but it's Trust Me, I Know, things you unapologetically about it, like you're not gonna feel bad about saying them, or things you really know that you confident you had you paid the price to get where you are. So Trust Me, I Know. Let's go with Trust Me, I Know now. So it's gonna be you on the screen. I'm not gonna be even there. I might
Uh-oh.
even. There's gonna be you talking about something you're passionate about, and you know that. So let's go with Trust Me, I Know with Pascale Sablan.
Trust me, I know that women and people of color have impacted and changed the world in ways that we are uncovering still today. I fight to ensure that that is something that we start to correct. I Google the word great architects and see that there's only one woman who's listed, and one person of color who's listed. And when I spoke to Google headquarters and asked why is this the case, they said there's not enough content that lists you all as great. So I launched my Great Diverse Designers Library. And for every exhibition that I host where I elevate women and people of color of that community, that work is then put forth in this library. It's called the Great Diverse Designers Library, that elevates their work, their identity, and their contributions to the world. And that's important because not only is it that I know, so you can trust me, I want you all to know all this important work and these important figures that shapes your communities, and know that that is also within your reach to have a similar and even more so prolific impact for your world and your community as well.
Wow, well said, well said. But can I add something, because I probably gonna have to plug it in. I thought you said Trust Me, I Know. Haiti Palace gonna be the best. I'm joking. I'm joking. So, but that's good. So excited to have you, and we're gonna go. That's like our closing questions. In terms of like, is there a question you wish I asked you today?
You did a great job, Eddie. No, you left no stone uncovered. You got a little bit of who I am, and I hope your community feels connected, hears the stories, and feels inspired to do their own passion projects, and also to navigate and engage in the built environment, both the profession and the world, as much as possible.
So, what the future holds for Pascal?
A future rooted in justice is a future that is not just for Pascale, but for all of us. A continued success in NOMA's expansion as its presidency, and continued success at our office as we continue to do great work around the world.
Favorite food you can share with the audience today?
Sure. My favorite food is akra, which is this
Oh, okay,
Asian.
yeah.
Yeah, that does it for me every time. And there's a sweet story that goes with it. I traveled to Haiti quite frequently, and one of my grandfather's sisters, so grand aunt, she used to make the best. So every time I come, she would like fry some for me. And when the earthquake happened, her house collapsed, and she actually unfortunately passed away in
Sorry
the
to hear that.
evacuation. And when we were clearing her site and clearing the debris, they found the refrigerator, and in the freezer was a jar of like pre-made the paste for aka with the name Pascale written on it. And
Wow.
so now every time I have some aka, I think of Grandma Lydia. And so it's both the most tastiest thing you've ever had, but then also it makes me feel really loved and gives me an opportunity to send her some love at the same time.
Since you travel a lot to Haiti, favorite place to visit?
You know, I love my side because it's such the origin story for my family.
Yeah, bias. You bias. It's
I
fine.
am biased, but I did go see a place called, and forgive me if I'm mispronouncing it, Fusi?
Fusi, yeah.
I mean, Haiti is just so magnificent to have just the various landscapes that is offered. Because to go to my side, that's in Plateau Central, so you actually have to drive through a few mountains, Moncabwit, to get to it, right? So you're driving through the city, then you're going up a mountain, and so you're just seeing this beautiful, lush, beautiful country. And then when you go to the coast, beautiful beaches, stunning beaches. But then to go to Fusi and see this, like it's like pine trees. It's actually cold, like log cabin architecture. It's just a different dynamic, and it's because of its elevation, its location on the island, that it has its own almost ecosystem within there. And I just thought it was just so fascinating and so stunning, and just another jewel in Haiti's crown in terms of the beauty that this island in this country offers the world.
Is there something you can share with the audience that who's not Asian, who don't never travel to Haiti, in terms of like places they have to visit? It might be a food they have to try.
I mean, the only place in the world where I'll have fresh lumbi is in Haiti on a beach. So if you ever find yourself in Haiti and you're on the beach, you know, you can actually hire the locals to actually go into the water and come back with a conch shell, which we call lumbi, and they're able to take it out and prepare it with peppers. Oh, it's so good. And you can eat it fresh on the beach, and that's actually the only place in the world where I'll have that, and it's quite delicious. I think the Haitian beaches are quite beautiful and warm and stunning. And so I would encourage you all to engage Haiti, both in the landscape, but also on its coast as well.
So I think they're gonna say we talk about Haiti too much, but is
That's
there
never the case. It's never the case.
Is there any other places you think that's kind of similar or kind of had the same standard to Haiti you visited?
I love the island of Guam. Guam is about a 24-hour flight from New York to get to. If everybody's ever been to Hawaii, it's another 8 hours west of Hawaii on another flight to get to it. And because of how remote it's a Pacific island, the sky is so clear. Like I felt like I saw color for the first time. There's a level of filtering that happens in the way we see the world because of the pollution. Yes. But when you're in some place that is so pure, you're like, wow, this is blue, this is green. And what I love about their island, which is similar to Haiti, is that they know what to do with meat. They know what to do with seafood. They know how to make food like you wouldn't believe. And they have one dish called izuzu, which is a coconut crab. And what I thought that was a crab made with coconuts, but no. It's a crab so large, it's like the size of your torso, that actually lives in coconut trees and palm trees, and it eats coconuts as its food. And so when you eat its meat, it's sweet. Oh my God, it is amazing. I've only seen it in Guam.
What? Guam is the next place to visit then.
Wow, it is delicious. And it's a U.S. territory, so you don't need a passport. As long as you can go straight over and hang out.
Wow, that's great.
Just be ready for a long flight, but once you're there, you will be very happy with everything you eat. And the coral reef is like 50 miles, which means the water doesn't get too deep, but there's beautiful, colorful fish, and you can like go out long in the water, never like surpasses or gets too deep in that capacity. And they even have some beaches where when you stand in the sand, it's so fine, it feels like you're walking in cooking flour. Like that level of soft and crystal clear. Just like a place free of pollution, free of like that. It's absolutely stunning, and I highly recommend as well.
Thank you. So this is Eddy Dacius with a great conversation with Pascale Sablan today, and very excited for this episode. Last word for you, Pascale.
Just of gratefulness. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you all for listening and hearing, and I really hope we all stay connected as we navigate the next steps in our journeys of our lives. Thank you.
All right. So if you looking to support our purpose, give a little will help a lot, and let's create a brighter future by learning and sharing each other's journey. Donation can be from $25, $50, $100, or $500. If you look or more, you have a business, you can advertise on our podcast for free on one episode, and you can visit www.dppodcast.com 617-237-0106. You can please scan this QR code to donate. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal. Very excited to have you guys today, and this is Eddy Dacius. You can listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, anywhere you listen to a podcast, and check us online, www.dppodcast.com. Thank you, Pascale, and excited to have you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Have a great day.
All right.